After nearly 35 years of skateboarding video games, the largest franchises had either come to an end or had peaked in quality. Gamers were left uncertain of the future, and it would take almost a decade before we'd see the return of the most beloved franchises. Would these games live up to their predecessors, and could two indie studios successfully move the genre in a new direction? Let's take a look at the future of skateboarding in gaming. Between 2010 and 2020, Robomoto had released Pro Skater HD and Pro Skater 5. Both games were heavily panned by critics and players, and many thought these titles had put the final nail in the coffin for the Tony Hawk series. Since 2010 and the release of Skate 3, skateboarding games had seen a decline in quality, and as a result, gamers naturally started to lose hope. For the last few years, it was thought we'd never see any new entries into the Tony Hawk's and Skate series, the two most celebrated skateboarding franchises in video games. Fortunately, SkaterXL and Session had slowly started to gain traction and reignited the skate game community, and it felt like we were finally getting what we'd been waiting so many years for. In November 2017, Creature Studios released the demo of Session, a skating simulation game, and later that same day, launched a successful Kickstarter, raising more than double their goal of $80,000 Canadian. Session set out to bring a more realistic experience than Skate, pioneering a twin-stick input method, allowing players to realistically adjust foot positioning to replicate real-life skating. Entering early access in 2018, SkaterXL also set out to create a simulation-style game using the dual-stick control method first created by Creature Studios for Session. Although many skating fans would enjoy the attempt at realism that SkaterXL would bring to gaming, it didn't hit the spot for casual players of Skate 3 or Tony Hawk's, and the lack of depth of simulation on the console version of the game would ultimately fall short of expectations for the more hardcore skateboarding gamers. Many felt the game was a rushed release, and ultimately has seen a lack of updates so far. This caused backlash within their own community, and gamers even took to starting a petition for new features to be added to the game. SkaterXL has a fairly strong following on PC though, due to a thriving modding scene, with many mods completely overhauling the core mechanics of the game, pushing more towards realistic skating. During this time, Creature Studios were hard at work developing Session, a passion project that hit early access in 2019 on PC and Xbox Game Preview in June 2020. Whilst Session and SkaterXL were pioneering a new style of gameplay for skaters to enjoy, in May 2020, we were suddenly hit with the announcement of a new remake of the original two Tony Hawk games, aptly named Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Developed by Vicarious Visions and published by Activision, this new and unexpected entry into the series was widely regarded as one of the best Tony Hawk's games yet, and fans were treated to a faithful remake that exceeded expectations, giving players the game they had been waiting a long time for. However, with Tony Hawk's being a much more arcade-like experience, many players would still follow Session and SkaterXL closely, hoping to eventually receive a fully fledged simulation-style game. Shortly after the original announcement of the Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remake, it was announced that Skate would be making a comeback with a new installment into the series. EA has now established Full Circle, a new studio in Vancouver to develop the game, led by Daniel McCullough and including Duran Chung and Cuz Perry, who worked on the original Skate games. Supposedly, the game was commented into existence by fans refusing to give up on the series and commenting on almost everything EA posted across social media, begging for a new Skate game. Following the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, There was a lot of speculation amongst players about the possibility of 3 and 4 receiving the remake treatment, and maybe even as far as Tony Hawk's Underground. While this may still happen, it is now more unlikely due to Vicarious Visions merging with Blizzard and being fully dedicated to developing existing Blizzard games. So, what's next for skateboarding video games? Some have speculated that studios such as Toys for Bob of Crash Bandicoot 4 may take over what Vicarious Visions had started with Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, and we can only hope that if we do receive another Tony Hawk's entry, that it is of the same quality as the latest release. The next installment of Skate is now fully underway, and we don't have any details currently, but due to the fact that Full Circle are currently hiring new staff to work on Skate, we can assume that we won't see a release until at least 2022. The previous 3 Skate games are still very much beloved to this day, so as long as they follow along that same formula, we should get another great game. SkaterXL is still a game enjoyed by many, and although the lack of updates so far has been disappointing, we are told that they are coming, so only time will tell. For now, we have a semi-realistic simulation game that, at the very least, is a fun few hours on console with far more depth on PC thanks to mods. Hopefully in the future we'll see another entry into the Tony Hawk series, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, Session seems to be taking the lead with skating simulation. Currently in pre-alpha, Session is packed full of features such as realistic physics, fantastic visuals, satisfying control schemes, and detailed menus, allowing almost every aspect of gameplay to be customized. The devs of Session are known to be incredibly responsive within the community and are aiming to please with future updates. Being skaters themselves, you can really feel the passion and attention to detail they're injecting into the game. There are currently early access bugs, unfinished animations, and much more progress to be made. But as a pre-alpha game, there is so much promise for Session, especially for gamers that are looking for a much more realistic experience than games like Skate and Tony Hawk's have offered so far. Creature Studios doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon, having recently landed a publishing deal with Nacon and releasing a game-changing update, bringing more players to Session than ever before. We still don't know if simulation-style Skate games will win over fans of the more arcade-style Skate and Tony Hawk series, but with Session including a legacy single-stick control scheme for casual players, there's definitely a chance the fanbase could grow quite significantly. Aside from the simulation titles and the AAA games we know about, there's also a couple of other indie titles that are gaining some much-deserved attention. The first is Skatebird by Glass Bottom Games, a much more jovial take on the genre in which you control a bird on a skateboard that can grind on bendy straws, kickflip over staplers, and carve killer lines through cardboard and sticky tape parks. Skatebird is definitely more Tony Hawk's than Skate, and looks a ton of fun. Next up is Skate Story by Sam Eng, with an incredibly striking, surreal visual style which is almost haunting at times. It seems that Skate Story is mixing super fluid skating with an atmospheric story. There aren't too many details about this title just yet, but from what we've seen, this is definitely one to keep a close eye on. Whether you're looking for an arcade-style hit of nostalgia with Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, a more realistic style of skating with SkaterXL and Session, or something completely fresh with Skatebird and Skate Story, we can certainly say that the future of skateboarding games is looking solid, and for the first time since the late 90s, we now have a great selection to play. At least for now, it looks like skateboarding games are here to stay.